everyone, this is TableTop Talk, and I'm your host, Aaron Dean, with my co-host,
Erica Hefflinger. Hey, guys.
And we're here at the Webster University home campus in St. Louis, Missouri, and today we're going to be talking about board games and what makes a good board game.
Frequently here on Webster University, we play board games about every weekend for, 6 or 7 hours. We've all played those classic board games, Monopoly, Uno, Connect Four, Sorry, Clue. I'm sure everybody's very familiar with those, but what makes you want to replay them, Aaron? Why do we keep going back to these games?
Exactly, Erica. That's what we're going to be talking about today, are those elements that make us want to play that board game again, and what makes it fun, and what makes you want to keep replaying that game with your friends and family. So let's just dive right in here. The first element we're going to be talking about is replayability. So if the game is the same every single time, it can be less interesting. So a lot of games have the element where either the board changes every time or you get different cards, and it's just not the same old every single time you play. A good example of that is Settlers of Catan, where at the beginning of the game, when you're setting it up, the board changes every single time. You lay out the tiles and you shuffle them, so the board is never the same, and that kind of gives you some variety there, and it's always different.
Yeah, one of the cons I'd say is Connect Four. I mean, you have the same thing every time. You might have somebody who starts differently each time. You might have a different starter, but you have the same pieces, the same goal. It doesn't change at all. Once you play it 3 or 4 times, you're done.
Yeah, and it's a 5x5 grid. You got your 2 colors, but it's this, like you said, the same exact thing, and that can get really old. And that's why, when you invite people over, Connect Four is not that game that you grab first,
Definitely.
So yeah.
Well, and also when you play a game, you want to have an equal chance of winning. You want to have equal opportunity. At the start of the game, every player should have an equal chance of winning. Like, in particular, the first player should have neither an advantage or a disadvantage over the rest of the field. You don't want it to be that that person's going to win. You want to have a chance. You want it to be exciting, and you want to have the neck and neck of like a horse race type thing,
Exactly. Yeah, there's some board gamers call it the kingmaker effect, when players have no chance of winning, and that one player who maybe has played that game before completely has a landslide over the other players, and that just makes it really unfun for other players, where they feel like there's no chance of them catching up.
Yeah.
I think a great example of a game that uses equal opportunity is Five Tribes, which we play a lot at our game nights.
Definitely. It's one of my favorite games to play.
Yeah,
sure.
And what's really great about that game is there's multiple ways of earning points. You can earn points through your coins, you can earn points through the tiles that you own. There's just multiple ways, so that makes it really interesting. And
you never know who's going to win at the end until you count the points.
Right.
But in games like Monopoly, once people win their economic advantage, it's hard to reverse it. There's no way to really get back at them. If they have all the properties, you can't really get it back from them unless you have all of the money in the game, and that's nearly impossible and not fun for anybody.
Exactly. The next element we're going to be talking about is early elimination, and I personally love games where there's no early elimination, meaning that all the players are playing to the very end of the game. A lot of games, fun games, can go up to 2-3 hours, and if there's early elimination, maybe one player is eliminated at the 30-minute mark, and then for that remainder of the game, they can't do anything, and that can be really unfun for people.
Well, there are some cases where early elimination is a good thing. We play this game called Bang. It's only 15 minutes long, but you don't want it any longer, and you want the excitement of people getting out and losing the game.
Right. It makes it really fun because it is a short game, and everyone gets these role cards. We have the sheriff, the deputy, the outlaws, and everyone has a different objective, and you're trying to take away the life bullets of your opposing party. So like the sheriffs are trying to kill the outlaws are trying to kill the sheriffs, the deputy is trying to keep the sheriff alive, and when you're eliminated, it's like crap, the other party is winning, but it's so quick that it still makes the game interesting, and that's an example of where early elimination can be exciting.
Well, another element that we can talk about is reasonable waiting times. A good board game, you don't want to wait forever for your turn. It gets boring after a while. One of the good ways of that is Catan. When you're playing, you're waiting, you're thinking about what you're going to do with the cards you have in your hand, and you never know who's going to roll your number, and you're going to get more resources from them.
Yes, in between turns, even though it's not your turn, every turn begins by rolling these die, and if the number that shows up on the die is something you own, then you'll get that resource. So it's fun because there's no long periods of inactivity, and everyone can still be involved in the gameplay. But today, we're going to end this podcast with a quote that Wolfgang Kramer said. He's a German board game designer, and he's a winner of 7 Spiel des Jahres, which is German for Game of the Year. And he says, "A good game will stay with us all our lives. A good game makes us long to play it again." So we want to thank you for joining us.
And this was Tabletop Talk with Erica Hefflinger
And Aaron Dean. See you later, guys.